going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another session of BEICONIC Conversations. My name is Darren Walker. Super humbled, grateful, and blessed to be on the line with you guys tonight. We're streaming on Instagram, Facebook stories, my Facebook page, as well as on YouTube. And we're just so grateful for you to be on here on BEICONIC Conversations. Super excited. Tonight, we have some iconic special guests that we'll be bringing on here in a short little while. But before we do that, listen, y'all, I just want to welcome you. Thank you so much for being on. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and share this with some people if you can. Let people know that we're on tonight. Let us know in the chat where you're tuning in from. I know there's some crazy weather all over. By the way, I just want to really quickly, if you're watching live, want to pray for you and your families if you're in any of the areas that there's thunderstorms and stuff. If you don't know what's going on with that, then to God be the glory. You're probably not in an area where that's going on. And just want to introduce you guys here to BEICONIC Conversations. We've been doing this podcast now for over 2 years. And really what we do is we help people make income by being themselves for a living while impacting the people they were called to impact. My testimony, my story is I'm 38 years strong from the Bronx, New York. My entire family's Jamaican. I'm the baby boy in the Bronx. I'm Jamaican. Wagwan, Anting, bless up here. I come from extremely humble beginnings. Man, about 10, maybe 15 years ago now, March 3rd, 2012, I walked into a job. I was working with 13 to 17-year-old mental health. And March 3rd, 2012, me and 250 people got laid off because of cutbacks. And it was a tough time for me. This is not a woe is me story. The same things that crush unsuccessful people motivate successful people. By the grace of God, I was mighty blessed to be able to, see an opportunity. It was a business opportunity in networking. Never seen anything like it. Me and said, I got something you got to see. I was skeptical. I learned you can't be broken skeptical. And long story short, I signed up in the middle of the night. I didn't have the money. I borrowed my mom's money, credit card in the middle of the night, signed up for that. And I was introduced to a new world. I was introduced to personal development. I was introduced to network marketing. It was worldly things. So I'm a big believer in Jesus Christ. My life changed a lot. But what I'm here doing right now is just sharing a little bit of my story and my journey. And that's really what we want people to understand, that your story and your journey matters. There's value in who you are and who you're called to be. And if you're watching and listening live at the beginning of quarter number 2, can you believe it? Weren't we just saying Happy New Year? Just feels like yesterday, but now it's April 2nd. If you're watching live, the new year is here. And all of a sudden, what's going on now is that, we're getting ready. Yesterday was 275 days. It's 274 days in the rest of 2024. And let me just ask you this question. Seriously, I want you to tune in and listen in here. What are you doing different this year than you did last year? Are you open to being available to change your life, change your family's life with who you're called to be? I understand that people have different circumstances, different situations going on in their life. Me too. Actually, my wife and I, we posted on social media that my wife gave birth to our 4th child. His name is Praise Xavier Walker. Quick story about that. I won't get into how we named him Praise right now. Maybe on this show or another time I will. There's a reason. The Lord has given us every one of our children's names. Seriously. Our eldest son, he's 5. His name is Kingston David Walker. Our daughter, Faith Walker, she's 3. Her name is Faith Walker. And our son, Zeal, he's the 3rd one. His name is Zeal Isaiah Walker. And then now we have Praise Xavier Walker. I'll tell you this about Praise's name. When we started texting out, he was born January 12th, the day before my birthday, at 3:23 p.m., ate and some change, almost 9 pounds. I think my wife would want me to tell you that she's probably out there like, almost 10 pounds. I get it. I didn't have to push that out of my body, but came as a pretty big boy, beautiful, healthy baby, healthy mom, to God be the glory. And we started telling people, hey, and like we put in a message, his name is Praise Xavier Walker. People started messaging back like, congratulations, welcome to the world, Xavier Walker. We're like, No. His name is Praise, first name Praise, Xavier Walker. And they're like, yeah. Welcome to the world, Xavier Walker. And we realized people thought we were saying, praise the Lord, Xavier Walker's here. Nope. Yes, we're praising the Lord, hands down. But his name is Praise. We're just worshiping that he's here and that we're blessed with another child. And so I share that because if you knew me back in the day, and some of you did, having kids, 4 kids, 5 and under, actually, Kingston and Faith will be 6 and 4 in April. Zeal will be 2 in May, and Praise is 2. So we've got 6, 4, 2, and new. And I just share that with you guys. If you're on here right now, wherever you are, we want to share with you that there is an absolute another level in your life. Whether you're a parent or not, single mom, single dad, maybe you're struggling in your marriage, in your finances, looking to take life to the next level. Maybe you're winning in life right now and you're striving and you've got imposter syndrome. Can the success be for me? What I've come to find is that there are people out there that have found a way to get to the next level in their lives. And that's what BEICONIC Conversations is about. BEICONIC Conversations is an opportunity to really get around the right people, hear the right testimonies, hear the right stories, and be inspired by what can be. Be inspired by what you can do. For the people out there that are going through the motions, that are not tapping into their story and their value, that aren't finding a way to really get to the next level in their life. That was me when I was working that job. And March 3rd, 2012, everything changed. So we're going to bring up our special guest speakers here soon in a moment. I want to invite you guys, though, really quickly to an event that we've got coming up here with these 2 icons this next Monday, y'all. I wish I had like one of those buttons that everyone can clap. It's a 2-day virtual event. It's called Turn Your Iconic Unique Story into 6- and 7-Figure Business. It's a free event. It's from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Limited time only to register. We're closing the doors soon. If you're opening to register, I want to see you put in the chat open. And what we'll do is we'll give you the link. We'll personally DM you the link so you can come to this event. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but it's going to be next level. We're almost at capacity for it right now and just so excited about it. So help me out, y'all. I'm going to bring on our special guest speakers today. And we were kind of laughing. I just want to kind of be raw and real and open with them when they come on because they've been friends of mine for a long time. Love them. Powerhouse couple, entrepreneurs, fur parents, leaders, believers. Just amazing. Their story is wild. When I get to actually, it just depends on which aspect you want to do. The health aspect, where one of them, almost lost their lives, but decided to overcome and they came together. Or the other aspect of their life, where one was a cop in one of the most dangerous places in the world. The other one risking his life every day, miserable. The other one is in the corporate world, climbing the ladder. She's sick and they send the work to the hospital and made a decision to change her life. One of the things that I love about this couple as I bring them on here is, I've known them for some time now, but what's really cool that I'm realizing recently is when I first met them, I saw them on stage. They were already where I desired to be. And they never, ever once made me feel like they were better than. And it just really mind your circle, guys. Mind who you surround yourself with. Never once has Dave or Yvette Ulloa ever made me feel like they had arrived. And we became acquaintances, coworkers, even partners, and now family. And I'm just kind of laughing for a moment because I realized today that I asked them to be on our 2-day event. And they said, yeah, let's look at the schedule. So I realized that I asked Yvette to be on the podcast 3 weeks ago, Dave to be on the podcast last week, and for both of them to be on the podcast tonight. And then they're going to do the event next Monday. I'm like, I think I need to put them on staff. I'm like, you know what? They not even one time. I was doing meetings today, and I got off the last meeting, and Dave texted me like, "Hey, what time will I be on?" And I'm literally like, This is the third time they're going to be on 3 weeks in a row, and they're going to be on next week. I'm like, bro, and it's an hour each time. I'm like, listen, show me your friends. You guys have not even batted an eye. So thank you so much. And wholeheartedly, I didn't even realize you just made me feel so comfortable. And the work that we're doing, like I'm just serving, but I respect your time so much. And I understand the value you bring. And guys, that event that we're doing next Monday and Tuesday is going to be next level. I can feel it. So Be Iconic Conversations, wherever you're tuning in, wherever you're listening from, do us a favor, share this to your family and friends. And let's give a round of applause, hearts, emojis, and likes, and all the things for Dave and Yvette Ulloa.
Wow. Well, appreciate being on with you, Darren. And whenever you reach out, brother, we're there for you. You do the same for us. And when you say, hey, we can impact the world together by jumping on some Zooms and sharing some ideas and asking questions, we're all about it. So we appreciate being on. And for all the fans that are here, welcome. Glad to see you.
Super excited to be here.
So grateful. So to tell you the truth, though, I did have a vision in my heart, like when I thought about you two, which is I got to know you over the years. So, Yvette is this, fiery Latina, this spicy, strong woman, independent woman, beautiful power. Dave is this athlete, this retired cop, this brave, strong man, but also caring and driven. But together, you guys are a union that absolutely moves mountains. Look at you. You guys just melt. You guys just melt. You guys are what someone would say #goals. And we appreciate it. But really, we're going to talk about different aspects of your life because people, I don't think I've started it this way before, but I really feel compelled. Something happened to me today. And I feel compelled to kind of share this story. I'm going to keep it private. I'm not going to say the person's name, but long story short, I'm promoting the event. I really believe that this event next week is going to be valuable, want to help people. So what I've started to do is started to contact some people that are already registered just to ask them some questions to let them know, hey, I care. People register for things. And if you're registered and I don't call you, I can't call everybody. There's almost 100 people registered, but I'm just going through them. So I got on the phone with this one guy. My goal was 30 calls in 30 minutes, a minute a call, right? Just hello, I end up on 20 minutes on the call with this guy. And this is what the Lord reminded me today. And I want everyone to hear this right now before we ask Dave and Yvette Ulloa about their story. And maybe it'll impact you. I get on the call and I just ask this guy and I'm like, hey, what's the number one thing that you're looking for out of this event? Like, what are you looking to get out of it? And he pauses. Now, I know him kind of. I've met him in the past. It's been a while. Follow each other on social media. Like, it's been years. And he just says, Darren, I'm getting ready to go through a divorce. Like, my wife, mentally, she's already gone. It's not my fault. I'm getting ready to go through a divorce. I've got diabetes. And he says to me, he said, I'm not suicidal. I'm not going to take my life. But if God doesn't wake me up tomorrow, I wouldn't be mad about it. I'm just tired. And when he said that out loud, you know what it made me realize? That it is so much more than an income or an event. There are actually people out there that have stopped dreaming, that are stuck in life, and have been through situations, Dave and Yvette Ulloa, like you and I have been. And the enemy and this world wants them to think that there's no more left and that they have to suffer through life. We've been there. I've had both of you guys on the podcast. You've talked about hardships. And really on Be Iconic Conversations, we want to talk about how we get to choose to love to grow through circumstances like this and get on the other side. I prayed for him and I said, you know what? There's more life ahead of you than there is behind you. I said, also, do not give up on your marriage because people see you together and melting. But I know you guys have some stories about where maybe, what is that saying I heard? The same sun that melts wax hardens clay. The same sun that melts wax hardens clay. And it depends on where a person is in their life. So tonight, we want to talk about the real. We want to know who you guys are, your testimony, and yes, your beautiful marriage. You've got the warrior and queens. You're leading people, impacting people. But you've been through it as well. And I know some people on here watching live have been through it or they're going through it. We want to invite them to the event, but more importantly, whether they come or not, instill some courage and some value and faith that there is still a life ahead. God can do more in your life and your business in an hour than you can do on your own in a year. So Dave and Yvette Ulloa, who are you?
Well, we are two New Yorkers. And I was born in Queens. He was born in Brooklyn. And when I was 3 months old, migrated to Bolivia, South America, came back to California at 13 to meet the love of my life, who moved from New York to California the year after I arrived. We obviously met years later, but we are of Latino parents. Our parents worked very humble jobs to make ends meet. And we went to school, got degrees, and really started working up the corporate ladder. For me, he was a professional basketball player. Australia, he'll tell you a little bit about his story. But for me, I always had big dreams, and I didn't know any better. I worked myself to being sick in the hospital bed. And so that's a little bit of my background.
Yeah, so we met in 1997. My sister played Cupid and introduced us at her birthday. My sister was working for her. I was living in Australia, going back and forth. I signed a 5-year contract. I was only there for 2, and I was supposed to go back. But when I met her, I found somebody that had everything that I was looking for. She was Latina, but she was Americanized. She was smart. She had a career. She was hot. She was hot. She was fun. And I was just like, man, if I leave, I don't know if this will work, the long distance thing. She wouldn't come with me. So I decided to leave and get out of my 5-year contract. And I stayed, and we started dating, and things started moving really fast. And for me at least, it was when you know. And we decided to get married, and we like a lot of people, we thought it was going to be amazing, that getting married, getting engaged, getting married. And then I remember sitting in my police officer in the academy. I had started the academy, and they said, how many of you are in a relationship? And a whole bunch of people raised their hand and said, well, by the time you're done with probation, don't plan on being in that relationship. How many of you are married? And people raised their hand. Well, for those of you that, and I wasn't married at the time, we hadn't even gotten engaged. We got engaged at the time. 50% of you are no longer going to be married. That's how difficult this career is. And that's the statistics that show. I'm not trying to fear you. I'm just telling you that's what the statistics are. So here we were, barely our first year of marriage, and now I'm on probation. And needless to say, we went through the roller coaster, because fiery Latina, ornery guy, and we didn't have a manual of what partnership in a marriage actually looked like.
So did you guys believe when you guys were, let's talk about when you were single, didn't know each other, that this is what love would look like, from the hardship to getting to the next level? Like, did it go the way you had it mapped out in your mind, even at the beginning?
At the beginning, Darren, there was a lot of fire. It was a lot of attraction, a lot of intensity. So the first, I would say, 2 years of our relationship, it was the honeymoon period, because we were on our best behavior. We were hiding our triggers. We were hiding our masks, our past wounds. And so the first 2 years was absolutely amazing. But then something started happening along the way, where there started to be little things that we started to notice about each other that we didn't know in the beginning, that started to trigger us. And every time we would get triggered, it would usually turn into this massive blowout, where we would fight, argue, to the point where we wouldn't talk. I remember one time, Darren, if you want to share that story, back in the day, we used to go clubbing. We were living in Burbank, so we were in Hollywood, going to a famous club there called the Garden of Eden on La Brea and Hollywood Boulevard. And we had started drinking. And afterwards, we got into this fight at the club, and we decided to leave early. And we were in the car, literally fighting, like arguing, yelling at each other, saying the meanest things to each other. And I just really remember the moment where I said, I'm out of here. And I got out of the car. Mind you, I'm 8 miles away from home, Hollywood to Burbank. I got out of the car in my club gear and my dress shoes, and I start walking home. And not just walking, jogging home, because I didn't want to be next to her. And she's crying out. She gets in the car and she starts trying to find where I was. And I knew she was going to do that. So I was hiding in between the side streets so she wouldn't find me.
That's good. Oh, man. Want a camera for that moment.
Yeah, and that just shows you where we came from. Like, nobody gave us a manual. We loved each other, but we were both feisty. And I just remember mascara running down my face. I'm crying. I'm driving, looking for him. You know, this is not a good combination. Drinking, feisty. We've learned our lessons. We don't do that stuff anymore. But in our younger years, the fights were horrific. It was like a 2-week passive aggressiveness. Don't talk to each other. I finally found Dave, by the way. He was drenched. And finally I convinced him to get into the car. But that was just a little example. And we want to be raw and real, because that's what life is about. If people don't learn from your story, then you're actually not being transparent enough to share the actual struggle, because everybody has that. And so that's where we came from, Darren. And that's where our life was. We had those kinds of fights for years.
I got one other one, Darren, for your audience. So they could just know that this is real stuff. To where we are today, it's because we went through the ups and downs, and we've learned that struggle turns to perseverance, which leads to character, which leads to hope. So I hope through this conversation that there is hope wherever you are in your relationship, that there is hope and you can turn it around. And there was a moment in time where we were just fighting all the time. And I felt like I couldn't make her happy. And I felt like I wasn't getting any respect. And she felt like she wasn't getting any love. She wasn't seen. She wasn't heard by me. And we were working all the time. And anytime we were together, we were fighting. And there was one time where I came home. And guys, just take this as note. Never say this to your lady. But this is what I said. I said, babe, I love you, but I'm no longer in love with you.
You said that out loud?
I said that out loud. I said that to her because we were at a place where we were just like, and she started bawling. And never have any mangoes next to you if you do happen to say that. A mango came flying at me and I dodge it and it goes, and I got upset because that was like, so like she threw something at me. So I stormed out of the house and we literally separated for 2 months after that incident. This was about 4 years into our marriage, thinking to ourselves, we were calling divorce attorneys. I was living with a friend at the time. I just consumed myself at work at the police department. And we literally just stopped talking and communicating for close to 2 months.
Yeah,
wow.
We don't condone that.
Yeah, actually, I never heard that story.
Oh, sorry. It was an aggressive thing. I always apologize. I would never do that again. But that's just, we were reactive. We were in survival and we loved each other, but we didn't understand why these things were happening.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. And I guess, I want to, for the person that's on here right now, some are married, some are not. Some are in a relationship, some are not. Some are divorced, some are on the brink of it. We really want to talk about tonight and Be Iconic Conversations and some of the stuff that we're going to talk about next week that I feel like the missing piece for a lot of people is being able to look back at the hardships, turn those into lessons, and find the blessings. Looking at your lives today, because now you teach people in relationships, you help people in that area specifically, and others. Was it hard though for you guys to look back at some of the hard times? Because when I'm working with people, one of the things that I find is that they are afraid, and I get it, but they're afraid to peer back into some of the hardships because of how it felt, but not realizing that if you made it through that, there are people out there that can get real significant value from who you were, what you did, and how you got to that next level. Can you guys speak on that about using your past and what you've learned, even though it's hard to look back, to use that to how you're utilizing it in your life now to take life to the next level?
Absolutely, Darren. You know, one of the things we've also learned in that when we work with our warriors and queens, it used to be painful, but now it actually excites us to go back to the past and look at those pain points, because when we get triggered, usually that trigger has nothing to do with the person that or the event that's actually happening in the moment. It's usually exposing an area of life where we are not free. So people and events come into our lives to expose areas where we are not yet free. And that's all that trigger is causing. And usually a trigger, we get angry, we get upset, we feel some kind of way, and we start blaming and we start judging, and that creates even more chaos. And so what we've learned is, when we get triggered, instead of saying, when you triggered me, why did you say that? Why did you do that? Especially in a relationship, ask yourself, what is triggering me right now? Why is that triggering me? What is the trigger? What is showing up in this moment? When was the last time that something like this triggered me? And when was the first time that I got triggered? And what you'll realize is you'll go all the way to the past, and what will be exposed is a moment where you created a mask to protect yourself because of whatever that event was. And usually it's not a good event that created this mask. And so when you start to explore that and you realize, oh my God, that's what happened. And when I can heal that, when I can let that go, all of a sudden it opens me up. So those kind of events and people no longer trigger me. And now I am free to actually have access. Instead of reacting, I can actually respond to situations. And when you respond, you think in a different way. And when you think in a different way, you feel a different way. And when you feel a different way, you take a different kind of action, which creates an entirely different result. Now imagine doing that with your partner. Oh my gosh, because what we've learned is your partner is going to trigger you more than anybody else on the planet. Amen.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that's true, you might want to just look at your current situation. See, who triggers me the most in my life? Yes, it's the most love, but they're also going to bring the most triggers.
For sure. You know what you're saying is so valuable. What I want to, when I say dig it deeper, I don't mean that you're not doing that already, but let's make it practical, because I feel when people are in pain, when pain is high, common sense is low. What are some practical steps? Let's say that somebody, whether they're in a relationship or not, they know something's off. They want to take it to the next level in their life, their relationships. What's a first step that you've personally used? Okay, so you guys were separated for 2 months. What had to happen for that to stop?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what had to happen. And if you want to talk about the 4 questions, it's pretty powerful. So what happened, Darren, is I got a message from her, that told me, it was a text message while I was working in Rampart Division. And she basically said, hey, I just wanted to let you know, my little brother was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and we don't know what it is, or he's going to run tests to see, exactly what it is. And we just have a lot of uncertainty, and our family is scared. And when I read that, something just hit me. It was like the Holy Spirit came over me and said, why are you worried about and fighting over petty things? There's so much more important things in life that you could be dealing with. And while you're worried about your wounds and what she did to you, there are people that are really suffering and dying right now. Your family, her family needs you right now. And that moment opened up my heart to reach back out to her and have a conversation in the park, because I wanted to do it in public, right? Not in private at the time.
No mangoes.
No mangoes.
No mangoes at the park.
So that we can actually have a conversation. And that was the conversation that we came back. But one of the things I think that is a practical thing that people can do when a moment like that happens and your partner's triggering you, or there's conflict in your life, there's a simple thing that we do and we teach our community to do that has profound transformation.
We're talking about these 4 questions. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's 4 simple questions. And I mean, it's a little bit more advanced than this, but you can get this framework. The very first question is, what does this mean to me? You know, we attach all kinds of meanings to a situation. Oh, it means he doesn't love me. Oh, it means he doesn't care about me. Well, listen, we are wired differently. We think differently. Men have 10 to 30 times more testosterone than women do. We're trying to run at the same speeds. That's why women end up with stroke, heart attack, all kinds of, mental illness and much more, because we're running at such high speeds that our bodies are not ready for, and we have breakdown. There are ways to run at a high speed, but also nurture your body, which most of us women are not doing. So that's the first question. What does this mean to me? You can change the meaning of anything. It's completely up to you. Oh, you know what? He must be exhausted. That's why he didn't come and give me a kiss. Get curious. So what does it mean is the first question. The second question is, what did I learn from this experience? Wow, I learned that maybe I shouldn't bolt into, trying to get a hug when he was busy working. Okay, maybe we can set up a time for connection that's a little bit better than me interrupting him. So question number 3, how can you integrate this in other areas of your life? What I learned in this situation, okay, I'm going to integrate it in my faith. I'm going to integrate it in my health. I'm going to integrate it in my spirituality. Integrate what you're learning. So turn any pain into a gift, because it is right there. I can tell you to the T, every single tough thing that has happened to us. And Darren was just sharing about turning our pain into our story. Every single thing that has happened to us, as tough as it was, it's given us a gift. Most people are blinded that there is a huge gift. Question number 4. This is where Darren will love. Who can I share this with? That's how you multiply the gift of the session. So, for example, I experienced some tough things as a child. Okay. I was in a victim world for a long time, pointing the fingers. This happened to me. I did the 4 questions, and I did a little more advanced work on this, that now I look at that situation as, wow, God allowed me to experience that. Number 1, there's free will. So people are going to do things that are mean to others, right? But number 2, that's been a gift in my life, because that pain has turned into power, in that I can have this unbelievable love for other people who experience the same thing. And God has given me the ability to provide the bridge. So the biggest pain in my life has become the biggest gift in my life.
It almost kind of makes that connection, right? It's like, now we have something in common. And, I love what you said about sharing that gift and everything you said, Yvette, because there is a process and can help people get through those circumstances and their situations. And Dave, I kind of want to hop back to something you said when Yvette called you and I was asking about that practical thing. To me, you said it, which was humility. Somebody had to make a decision to not be the right person. What was bigger than that? And I think in relationships, but also in getting to your next level in your life, are we going to sit there and allow the circumstances of life? I know that both of us were a part of a company that went out of business, and we could have just sat there and said, woe was me, what are we going to do? But we made a decision to take what we learned and turn it into something else to continue to bless people. And that's really what I want to drive home to people right now, because again, some are married, some are not. So there's different people in different circumstances. However, I can see and I can tell through the testimony that you guys are sharing, through the conversation I had with the young man today, that there's hurt people, and hurt people, but also hurt people can inspire people if they share that hurt. I want to tell you another one. I got this girl, she's in a mastermind. I won't say her name, but she's been a part of the mastermind for about a year. And she's like, I'm trying to find out what my calling is. I'm not sure. And then one day I'm on a one-on-one call with her, and she just kind of says, yeah, because when I had a DUI back, and I was like, what? I was like, I've known you for years. You had a DUI when? And she started telling me the story, and she was so ashamed of it. Happened years ago, but it really derooted her, made her feel unworthy, like a criminal, all these things. And I'm like, yo, that is it. That is it. And it's in the deepest roots of some people's pain right now and how they felt. But I was like, but you overcame. you're back, you're working, you're growing, you're inspiring, but no one knows that truth that's lying in your heart and your weight. So what would you say? Have you guys ever had things that maybe you hid or didn't feel like you were confident or ready enough to share with the world, but now, like Dave, when you were talking about now you're excited about it, that you now maybe utilize to help people grow, like things that maybe you were ashamed of or not even ashamed of, maybe something that you were just didn't realize that was holding you guys back, that was underneath things that you now utilize as giftings to other people to not get held back?
Hmm.
I would say 100%. Yeah,
I know
all
they're
the
just trying to
time. I
process.
can think of a time without sharing the time because it's his gift. At our last retreat, he told a story of his dad, and he went so deep and shared things that he has never shared in his life, and it caused some of the biggest breakthroughs in the room. It was some of the most impactful 45 minutes of the entire day because people got so many gifts that he didn't even realize until later on when they shared. And it was some deep wounding that he had experienced.
Yeah. So I'll kind of paraphrase it, Darren, because I know we have limited time here, but
And they got to come to the event to get the good.
there you go. To
Let's
get the
do that.
Can't give
Let's
everything.
do that.
I love it. My dad was a very wounded child growing up. He was orphaned at the age of 8, and he experienced a lot from all the way to 8 till he moved to America when he was in his early 20s. And so when he and my mother met, they had this very intense relationship. He drank a lot. He worked a lot. He was also very physical when he drank too much. And so when we grew up, I grew up in an environment where I saw a lot of chaos. There was a tremendous amount of chaos in the house. I saw my mom cry a lot, to one point where she basically couldn't take it anymore. And she moved all of us 3 kids, and we moved to El Salvador for many months just so she can get away and basically live somewhere else. They ended up getting back together, but there was a major incident that happened. And the reason I share that is because if you are in a relationship right now, we've had some couples that have come to us saying, it's done, we're over, there's no way we can save this relationship. They moved out for over 4 months and they're no longer living with each other. And they've come to us, and we truly have a belief that if you go all the way down to that point where you get married under God, that is now a covenant relationship, and that shouldn't be broken up. That's something that people can work on, and usually people are breaking up because of their triggers in their mask, that they're blaming their partners, but there's a way of changing it around. And the reason I bring that up is because the first 20 years of my mom and dad's relationship, I only saw chaos. But then something happened where change was an absolute must. And my mom gave my dad an ultimatum. And when she said this ultimatum, and he was ready to receive that ultimatum, he completely changed his life. It was like from one day to another, completely changed his life, can change his environment. We moved all the way to California. For the next 20 plus years of their relationship, he was literally the best husband and father that any person could ask for. He no longer drank. He no longer did the things that he was doing. He worked really hard. He had food on the table. He never missed any of my games. I saw him love on my mom, take her to dinner and dancing and doing all of these things. And my mom was the happiest wife and mother that you can imagine. And I look back and I think to myself, how the heck did that happen? But I don't tell that story to too many people because most people won't understand that. But that perspective gave me, I don't care what's happening in your relationship right now, you can turn it around. If the desire is there and you want to turn it around and both people or partners are willing to come to the table, you can absolutely turn any relationship around because I experienced it and I grew up with it and I absolutely saw it.
Bro, you're absolutely right. I mean, and it's interesting, right? You said, I think something so profound that she had the ultimatum, but he was ready to receive it. And I think maybe somebody on here right now, maybe you're a single mom, single dad, maybe you're in a relationship struggling, maybe you're looking to build your business. It doesn't matter what we're going to talk about tonight or what we're going to talk about next week or even what you're listening to in the Word of God. If you're not ready to receive it, your heart's got to be ready. And we know that can be challenging. Excuse me. We know that can be tough. But I always, we always say, choose your heart. Consider, what was that saying? Like, choose your heart, but, what other considerations do you have when you're looking at it? When I looked at the Word of God for myself, what changed my life in that was consider the world and consider the Word. And when I considered the Word, I had already done so many things in the world that the Word showed me that I had to humble my heart. There's something more. So I'd love to talk to y'all about, and I love that story, Dave, and you guys are doing amazing, by the way. Y'all, can you let us know? Drop value in the chat if you're getting value. Relate if you relate, and break through if you're hearing something tonight that's giving you. Look at that. I'm looking at Instagram as well. Instagram is just, I didn't even tell them yet. They're just hitting up value. So thank you guys. YouTube, Facebook, we see you. But now, how long have you been married?
We have been married at 24 years.
Wow. 24 years.
Yeah, it'll be our 25th this year.
November 26th.
Yeah, you better know that date. I'm going to make sure I send you guys a beautiful mango platter. No.
I love it.
But pertaining to your life and business and being in a relationship, how has that been? Working together, building a business, making a name for yourself. What's it been like to strive in that area?
It was very difficult before we got certified in multiple areas of relationship, and we did all this work to get mentored by the best in the world. It was hard. When we were doing our direct sales network marketing company, it's like we were competing. And side note, ladies, if you're in a relationship, do not compete with your husband. It's not healthy. It's not good. Show up the best that you can. But I remember this, and a lot of you will enjoy this little story of I was so competitive that I was diminishing him and I wasn't honoring him. And I was just like, treating him like my sidekick. And there is a culture out there that's the whole boss babe culture that I'm very sorry. I'm going to say it. It's toxic. It's not good for your marriage. It's not honoring. But that's where we were at. That's what we learned. That's the role models on TV. That's what's out there. So previous to doing this work, to learning the Warriors and Queens way, it was hell. And I will tell you, sorry for saying that word, but I will tell you one day, I came back. I did a big presentation. We were in direct sales and I had 8 memberships that sold that night. Boom. I was closer, fiery Latina at work. Come back. I'm on fire. And I come home and I'm like, hey, babe, so how many did you close? And I'm in this like football stands. And he told me 7. And I said, ha, I beat you. And what did he say?
I said, babe, I don't want to go to bed with Dr. Peach tonight. Can you turn that off, please?
That is hilarious.
So for those of you who don't know Dr. Peach, he's a big, burly, bodybuilder type, very intense. And wow, that was like, such a wake-up call. That's where our marriage was prior to this work. Now, fast forward.
And for those of you that are in a relationship, just know if you do get into business, it's a whole different dynamic. If you're working with each other, you're with each other all the time, there's a whole different dynamic, because here's the difference between men and women. When you're in a relationship, men, what they need is respect. When they're in their masculine, they need respect. That's what they desire from their partner. What women desire when they're in their feminine is to be loved and cherished. But the challenge is, especially when you're in business, it seems for many couples that we see, it flips. And passion is found in the realm of polarity. Polarity means opposite. Men are masculine, women are feminine at their core and their essence. But because of all of these masks and because of society and the programming, it's like it's flipped. And now you're in a relationship where women desire more to be respected, but because they're in their masculine more, they think that that's what they need. But when they're in their feminine, their true essence, who God intended them to be, what they really desire most is their love and being cherished by their man. But a lot of times they don't allow themselves to receive it. Why? Because a man ain't a plan. I don't need a man to do anything for me. So they push that love away unknowingly, thinking that that's what they're supposed to do, and avoid sharing their feelings with their man, because at some level they've been programmed to believe, if I share my feelings too much, he's going to get scared, he's going to push away, he's going to withdraw. But we get fueled by your feelings, ladies. We get fueled. We want you to be able to be vulnerable and let us know if we're not needed at home, we go get needed somewhere else, whether it's at our business or career or hobby and friends. So that dynamic in a relationship is the polarity. And that's where a lot of couples unfortunately break up, because they lose the passion, because they forget who they were and who God intended them to be.
That's value right there. And you know, the question that's on my head, like Yvette, when he asked you not to be Dr. Peach, did it hit you right there? Like, did you get it like right at that moment where you were like, ooh, like was that the hit, or did it take a moment for you to?
It was a hit. It was a jab for sure. And I was like, I didn't really know what to do with that, but it was true. You know, I was like, and I don't think I even had the awareness at the time. It probably hit me hard because we had a round 2 of really, really difficult year for us. As a matter of fact, the year that we made the most money with our direct sales company, we were $40,000 from hitting $1 million in a year. That year is when we almost separated again, because the tension, and plus we weren't seeing each other. I was like in Croatia, he was in South Africa. We were opening countries for the company. We were both trainers, and we were nurturing our business, watering that grass, but we were not watering our grass in our marriage, and we were definitely not watering our grass with our God.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that we're talking about in the community right now is that alignment is sometimes more important than achievement.
Yes.
And so, you know, like you guys, I mean, like it's somebody out there right now, like $40K to $1 million in a year. You know, $1 million in a year is $83,333 in a month. So that's a pretty good year. But considering what, you know, what's the cost? And I think personally, that's a question to ask somebody out there right now that's sitting on the sideline in their goals and dreams, staying at the job that they don't want to, staying in the relationship that's not working, getting ready to give up on the relationship because it's hard. What's the cost? You know, and you know, sometimes it's hard to get aligned. And that's why I've learned, and I know you guys know this because you run and help communities, that willpower will never be stronger than the strong in the right community. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see people have is that I'm if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it on my own. I said it to my buddy that was on the phone today. I'm like, listen, I can tell that you're struggling the way you are, not because of life circumstances, but because you're trying to do life circumstances alone and you're out of alignment. Once you're by yourself and you're getting in your head, it gets super hard. So if you're over here in Croatia and he's over there in Africa, you know, but that sever is broken, you know, we're out of alignment, and it could really, really hurt people. So that's one of the main things we're going to be doing next week, y'all, on this event, is helping people get realigned. You know, Dave's got such a powerful story. Yvette has such a powerful story. And, you know, we're actually going to also have a lot of our community share and going through practical step-by-step strategies of how to get aligned, how to know your calling, how to turn that into a business, how to walk in passion, how to walk in faith. But like Dave said before, you get to choose to love, to be ready and really prepared for what that is going to be and show up for yourself. So listen, y'all, I appreciate you guys so much. We're going to wrap up here soon. I'd love it if you guys can both give us, you know, pertaining to alignment. And hey, it's the second quarter. You know, maybe somebody's watching this or listening to this a year from now, and that's great as well. But right now, for our viewers that are spending the time with us, by the way, we appreciate you guys so much and love you. God bless you. What would you guys say about, really, imagine somebody's not in the place they want to be financially, mentally, in their relationships, but they're looking for a way to really turn things around. They want to get things to the next level. Dave, what would you say about a person that's committed to wanting to change their lives, even if they're not sure how?
Well, first thing, I mean, you got an event coming up next week, Darren. I would say make sure they register for that and they show up to it. I think that'll actually get them to that next level, at least being around a group of people and learning some information from you that could inspire them. There's so many angles to go from that. But I would say for me personally is to have the belief that next year can be completely different than this year, no matter where you are right now in your relationship, in your health, and your finances, to have that faith and that belief that next year that you can transform your life in 1 year, as long as you believe that and you have the hope that you can believe that. Right now, there's so many people that they've lost hope on life. I was talking to a lady in Australia, and she was so down about everything that's happening in the world and their government and their economy and all these different things that she's like, Dave, I don't know if I want to live anymore. I lost hope. I don't see a future for myself and for my family. I've completely lost hope. And so for those of you that are here, I think one of the most powerful things as leaders that we can do, Darren, is to give people a compelling future. We've talked to several people that were on the verge of suicide, and it's impossible for somebody to commit suicide when you give them a compelling future. So for anybody that's here, I'm just telling you, no matter where you are, you can learn from us that your life can be different. Surround yourself with the right people, have the faith and have the belief that next year can be different than this year.
Bro, that's a bar. Give people a compelling future. Give people a reason to see past where they are, even though they're there, and a reason to keep going. It's a big deal, and I feel like people, it's tough, and I love it. Like, it's tough to see when you're in it, and that's why a community is important. But who wants to go be around a bunch of smiling people when you feel like you don't feel like doing anything? It's hard. It's tough, and that's what it's about. And your story is valuable. I really love that, Dave. Give people a compelling future. Give them a reason to believe one more time. Fire Latina, take us home.
Will you share the question again? I got so present with his story.
No, just if you gave people just one last look, if they're ready to change their lives and move forward in what they're doing, and just, whatever aspect it is, just to have that courage to show up for themselves here in the second quarter of 2024 and moving forward.
Absolutely. A lot of times, lack of alignment is because lack of mission, and it's lack of purpose, which means lack of connection with the one above. And I think in this world, we are taught so much to like push through with your head. If there's no door, make one. And, we so want to achieve things that our ego wants. We want the stuff. We want the recognition. We want the glory, that we forget to listen to what are your talents? What are the things what are those dreams that God put in your heart, that if money and time were not an issue, you would awaken those again. I was talking to somebody who's like a very high profile coach, and she's like, I would garden full time. I love gardening. It's my thing. Like, girl, you have a gold mine. So many people are trying to learn gardening. Why don't you start following your purpose, your passion, figure out a way to do it and to follow that, because there's something special there for you. And so I think too many people are, Darren, we've had this talk of too many people are in the business of forcing doors open that are not meant to open, and just look at the ones that God is opening for you. That's what we did. Oh, were we upset we lost our 15-year business? Yes. But guess what? God closed that door, because that door did not belong to us anymore. This entire business of warriors and queens, our community, the marriages, the singles, the people who've changed their life, none of it would have happened had we continued to force that door to open. So listen, because God is showing you the way, and that's the best way to live life.
That's value right there. There's just noise out there. We can just listen. You guys are iconic. I'm so grateful. Hey, Be Iconic Conversation family and friends, and anybody that's a guest that's on right now from Dave and Yvette Ulloa. I mean, we've adopted them over here in Be Iconic Conversations. This is like 6. Might as well start a series right? And we appreciate their time and their effort. And this has just been super valuable. Hey guys, next week, Monday and Tuesday, we'll be on. Dave and Yvette will be on Monday with us, and we're gonna do some great things. It's gonna be a 3-hour event from 6 to 9 on Monday and 6 to 9 on Tuesday. And on Tuesday after, I'm gonna be doing a quick 25 to 30 minute devotional about Jesus Christ. If you're open to that, you can come. And we've just got so many amazing things coming on. So Dave and Yvette, wholeheartedly, I just want to let you guys know we value you. We value your time. We value your story. We value your position as warriors and queens. We value your community. We value your heart to want to serve other people. And we just thank you. And I pray that the Lord continues to work in your life. I pray that the Holy Spirit continues to guide your marriage and your oneness. You know, Dave, that's your rib, you know, and Yvette, that's your covering. You guys are one in the flesh, you know, and that's how the Lord made it. And so you're using your gift, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this journey with you. So thank you guys for being on. Family, on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're tuning in. Dave and Yvette, where can we find you?
You can find us at warriorsandqueens.com. Warriorsandqueens.com. Feel free to say hello. We'd love to connect with you. And Darren, thank you so much for having us on, brother. Every time I get inspired, I learn something new about you and about everything that's going on. I get so much value just from being on as well. So thank you for having us, brother.
God bless you guys. We got the dynamic duo. Oh, and good thing you're not going to sleep with Dr. Peach. You got your bride. You got your bride back. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. And we appreciate that. All right, y'all. I'm going to pray us out. Thank you for being on BEICONIC Conversations. Hey, next Tuesday we'll be on our 2-day event. We won't be on here, so come register. You can see it in my stories on my Facebook page, or you can DM us or comment. Dave and Yvette, they have a personal link as well. So if you want to come and you know them, ask them for their link that they can let you know so you can register for our 2-day event. We're teaching people how to turn their iconic, unique story into 6 and 7 figures. Make sure you show up. So we appreciate your time. Lord, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for another day, Lord. We just came off of Passion Week and Holy Week, and it's just been blessings. And Lord, you've just shown me today, just reminded me that, man, your people are here and you love them, but some of them are struggling. And if myself and Dave and Yvette and our community can be a part of helping people grow and just believe one more time, maybe someone's listening and they just one more time, they're looking to really take their life to the next level. We're asking for your super to meet our natural, for the Holy Spirit to permeate through us and for you to lead us, Lord. I ask for your blessings, your restoration, your covering, your peace, your protection, Lord, and your favor. Thank you for your grace. Definitely thank you for the cross. In your holy name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Let's go. God bless you guys. Thanks for being on, guys. We'll see you next week. Let's go. Good night.